Innovative content. Global audience.
And politics. I am Rita UCHECHI. I will be your host on this show. I'm reaching you live from our SRTV here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. And as you know it, we discuss politics, the things that have been happening in the political arena, how it affects us, and the things that have happened, how it will benefit us, whether yes or no. We are here to discuss all and everything all about politics. And today we are discussing on the executive orders signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Not just that, we are also going to be discussing the order given by the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on the Abacha loot that was recovered. We'll also be talking about the presidential ministerial list that we are all waiting for, and we'll also look at the economic state of our dear nation, Nigeria. Not just that, as the president has taken ministries in other regimes. Some presidents have taken ahead of ministries, like former President Muhammad Buhari. He took charge of Ministry of Petroleum. So we will be discussing today to know if Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is the current president of Nigeria, is going to head any ministry in this his time or not. And we will also be having, as you all know, we'll also be having a guest who will talk more and discuss more on these topical issues that are bothering us in the political arena. And today, let's talk a little about the 4 executive orders signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. These the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signed 4 executive orders, one of which is the suspension of the 5% excise tax on telecommunications services and the excise duty escalation on locally manufactured products. These executive orders, some people are happy. A lot of people are happy about it. And you see, concerns are also raised that, is this really what we need in this economic situation that we are now? Yeah, if you look at it, some people will say that, yeah, it's a good move. But how does this benefit the ordinary Nigerian? How does this benefit the poor man on the street? Is this what we really need at a time like this? Like, if you pick up some national dailies this morning, you will hear killings in some places and all that. I think to some people, they are of the opinion that we should first of all guard ourselves first. We should also first of all protect ourselves. There are things to do before other things. We are supposed to be implementing policies that would benefit the public, that would benefit the poor masses, and not just some people. And away from that, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered the disclosure of the spending details of about $5 billion Abacha recovered funds by the former presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president Umar Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and Muhammadu Buhari. Is this the right time for this? This is coming from Serap, that they should give us details about how this money has been spent. Yes, when this funds were recovered, a lot of people were raising concerns about this and all that. But, after how many years has passed and they are coming out now to talk about this, we will be discussing much more deeply on this. Then, talking about the ministerial list, a lot of people are clamoring that some governors will be on the ministerial list, and people like the former River State governor, that he will be on the on the ministerial list, and they have come out to say that those claims are wrong, that he will not be on the ministerial list. But we don't know. You know, politics, anything can happen. You just wake up one morning, and especially since the inception of this administration, we've been having a kind of surprise packages coming to us every morning in the world of politics. And as you all know, we'll have a guest who will talk deeply on this, and our guest will be Dr. Law Nefe, forensic and social psychology, policy socialist, public intellectual. He will be discussing more of these topical issues and ways, things that we need to do as a nation, things that will foster development, things that will help the poor masses, because as it is in the country now, it is not easy for the poor man at all. Even the rich is biting hard on everyone, but like you know, it is the poor masses that suffers it the most, and the security issues is still not handled, and we'll be looking into all this. Like there's been a curfew, a 24-hour curfew in Mangu local government of Plateau State. Fresh killings, you know, during the Lalong administration, we were saying Lalong, maybe he don't want to do it, maybe it's because these whole things are political and all that. This is another person from a different political party, and these things are still happening. What is going on? And the newly appointed chief of the newly appointed AG of police, I beg your pardon, he came out and, you know, he said he felt like a lion ready to devour nation enemies, criminals, and all that. Please, we would like to see actions, because with all those talks and no actions, we are still watching, and we really need results. What we need right now are results. So where are we going? On a short break, and when we return, I'll be returning with my guest who will talk more deeply about the world of politics today. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture, fashion, music, dance, and comedy. Also, there will be a comprehensive economic summit, exhibition of Nigerian organic agricultural produce, and a meritorious recognition performance awards to deserving Nigerians and industry icons. Nigeria Week will showcase Afrobeat A-list artists, Ice Prince, Terry G, Orishefemi, Oris Wiliki, Konga, Bijiano, Nice Flow, Jetplay, and many more. Dates, 17th to 25th July 2023. Time 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily. Venue, Lighthouse Theatre, 262 to 274 Camberwell Road, London SE50AY. Tickets available on Eventbrite at www.eventbrite.com/Nigeria Week or numbers below. For more details, visit our website www.superiorradioandtelevision.com. Nigeria Week, produced by SR TV.
Okay, my people, it could not be better than this. The Nigerian Week in London 2023 got you covered to the extent that you can get a free ticket to the event. And this is all you need to do. Go to the Google Play Store and download TapTap app. Send as low as £1 to the account in Nigeria using SRTV as your transaction code. Screenshot your transaction and send to 447-459-513619 or email it to event@superiorradioandtelevision.com and the ticket will be sent to you ASAP. This is powered by SRTV London and TapTap Send. You already know what time it is. Your boy Ice Prince Amani. I can't wait to ride.
Okay, it's so exciting.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture, fashion, music, dance, and comedy. Also, there will be a comprehensive economic summit, exhibition of Nigerian organic agricultural produce, and a meritorious recognition performance awards to deserving Nigerians and industry icons. Nigeria Week will showcase Afrobeat A.
All right, welcome back from that quick break. And if you're just joining us, this is People and Politics, and I am your host, RITA UCHECHI. And just like promised, I am back on call with Dr. Law Mefo, forensic and social psychologist, policy socialist, public intellectual, who will be talking more detailedly on these topical issues that are happening in the world of politics today. Good morning, Dr. Mefo.
Yeah, good morning, Rita. Good morning, Nigerians.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting me.
All right, sir. The president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has signed 4 executive orders, one of which is the suspension of the 5% excise tax on telecommunication services and the excise tax duty escalation on locally manufactured products. So some people are saying that these are not what we need in this current situation right now in the country. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, Nigerians certainly need more. We need this, what he has done, but we need much more, a lot more. And yes, telecommunication 5% VAT affects majority of Nigerians, no doubt. So suspending it would certainly bring a bit of succor. So to that extent, it's a desirable policy. Then the same tax extended to locally manufactured goods. Well, that too is good. But like I said, Nigerians need much more palliatives to be able to effectively cushion the devastating impact of the sudden fuel
Subsidy.
removal,
Yeah.
and other harsh economic policies of the Tinubu presidency. I'll give you instances of the things I think that the government really needs to look into.
Okay.
Bring sufficient alleviation to Nigerians at this moment. You know, where you talk about locally produced manufactured products.
Yeah.
Yes, but the question is, what is the cost of doing business in Nigeria? Take, for instance, the problem of power, electricity, particularly. If you understand that Nigeria transmits on the average 5,000 megahertz of electricity at the moment, you will see that from the manufacturing sector, the power sector in Nigeria is on a standby, while they rely essentially on diesel to run, to power their industries. And what is the cost of a liter of diesel? It's approaching 1,000. So I think that what Nigerians need at the moment, 2 things. The president needs to tackle head on, and leave all these cosmetic tax matters. Is the issue of electricity, the issue of security. These 2, once you take them off the table, more than 70% of the country's problems will be solved.
Yeah.
And the Nigerians will be able to eke out a living on their own without having to wait for government handouts. So when we talk about palliatives, when you remember our experience during the COVID-19 pandemic and crisis, and then the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs told us she, on behalf of government, committed over $1 trillion to what you call palliatives during the
Yes, palliative reliefs.
But personally, I have not met a single person that benefited from that. Personally, I don't know if you have. I am from a town in Anambra State,
Okay.
Abatete to be precise, but I haven't met a single person that collected palliative. And yet, over $1 trillion was said to be committed. Yes, I wasn't expecting to the people that needed it, so to speak. But who said he got. And, so if we want to talk about palliatives, we shouldn't talk about palliatives in the monetary terms. Because if you bring money, say, because we had the federal government before the departure of Muhammadu Buhari, borrowed additional $800 million, which they intended to apply to palliatives, because of the anticipated fuel subsidy removal. And they plan, according to them, to give 5,000 naira to about 50 million vulnerable Nigerians. You ask yourself, that welfare register, how was it developed? Where is it? In a country that is serious, if you have such social register for this kind of a social intervention, it should be accessible electronically. People should be able to access it. If you use the INEC format, INEC demarcated Nigeria into 176,606 polling unit areas. These are areas physically demarcated. We want to see a register, a social safety net register that, people from these 176,606 polling units around the country can access. You can click and find your area and know those who are captured. If your area is not captured, you can raise an alarm. But we are told that there is 50 million Nigerians on this so-called social register. You and I know that such a register doesn't exist. I want to be
Hello, Dr. Mefa, are you there? Hello. We are having little bit of a network issue. We hope we can.
I talked about electricity.
Okay. Hello. The network is having some issues today, and we hope it will be resolved soon. We are still on the issue of the 4 executive orders signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We will just go on a little break, and when we return, I hope that we'll be able to rectify these network issues. Don't go anywhere, stay with us.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture, fashion, music, dance, and comedy. Also, there will be a comprehensive economic summit, exhibition of Nigerian organic agricultural produce, and a meritorious recognition performance awards to deserving Nigerians and industry icons. Nigeria Week will showcase Afrobeat A-list artists, Ice Prince, Terry G, Orishefemi, Oris Wileke, Konga, Bijiano, Nice Flow, Jetplay, and many more. Dates, 17th to 23rd July 2023. Time 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily. Venue, Lighthouse Theatre, 262 to 274 Camberwell Road, London SE50AY. Tickets available on Eventbrite at www.eventbrite.com/Nigeria Week or numbers below. For more details, visit our website www.superiorradioandtelevision.com. Nigeria Week, produced.
Okay, my people, it could not be better than this. The Nigerian Week in London 2023 got you covered to the extent that you can get a free ticket to the event, and this is all you need to do. Go to the Google Play Store and download TapTap app. Send as low as £1 to the account in Nigeria using SRTV as your transaction code. Screenshot your transaction and send to 447-459-513619 or email it to events@superiorradioandtelevision.com and the ticket will be sent to you ASAP. This is powered by SRTV London and TapTap Send. You already know what time it is. Your boy Ice Prince Amani. I can't wait to ride.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture, fashion, music, dance, and...
All right, people, you're welcome back from that quick break, and we have been able to rectify the issue with network. Dr. Mefo, you were talking about electricity in line with what we need at the moment.
Yes, I said that President Tinubu weeks ago signed into law a deregulation of the power sector, giving states and even individuals the legal authority to generate electricity, transmit and distribute. It's a revolutionary bill, but we need to practicalize it. I propose that the federal government can go into partnership with willing states that are willing, forming a partnership with the federal government, developing electricity roadmap in that partnership sense. When they do so, do a kind of counterpart funding to generate the specified number of megawatts for the state that has expressed the interest. Federal government brings a part of the money, the state brings a part of the money, and they share the electricity generated. And if you do that within 2 years, more than 15 to 20 states in Nigeria will be free from the problems of electricity. And states that are quite capable financially will be able to generate more than they need and sell the excess to the states that cannot generate. That is a source of funding to such states. And in the area of insecurity, because like I said, for me, as far as I am concerned, tax holiday is good, but what Nigerians need now, what we need desperately, is resolving the issue of electricity and the issue of insecurity. In the area of insecurity or security, whichever way you want to look at it, we want to see localization of security intervention. We want to see the coming of community police and state police. Unless you do this, there is no way insecurity will be tackled effectively in Nigeria. Nigerian police officers and men are about 400,000, and their command is centralized in a single individual, going by the designation Inspector General of Police. Here is just one man sitting in Abuja and overseeing security coordination via the police force in 8,812 wards in 774 local governments in 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. One man, one police force. Nigeria is the only federal system anywhere in the world. And as at last count, you can Google it, there are 26 countries of the world that practice federalism. Only Nigeria practices centralized police system. It's not possible. It can't work. And that is why we are where we are. And I recall that one of the commitments made by Tinubu in his presidential campaign is The issue of state police and community police, it has to make it a priority. If they don't know how this can work, the president can commission a study group that can visit a number of these federations in the world and see how their police system, their police system, decentralized police system works. It's not rocket science. We cannot reinvent the wheel. We can only make it more beautiful. But here we are insisting on one police force, and the end result is that Nigerian sovereignty is balkanized and state actors are sharing the nation's sovereignty. How does this happen? They have demarcated the country into ungoverned spaces. The entirety of the Zambiza forest is out of the control of the federal government. We've been fighting with the Boko Haram over the years to reclaim much of Borno State, Zambiza forest, Yobe, and again, you can see the incursion being made by non-state actors you call bandits that have now shown their hands and grown manifestly as a full-blown terrorist organization. So you go up to Zamfara, Sokoto, KB, all of them.
Okay, sir. Okay, Mr. Mefo.
Non-state actors like Turuji and so on and so forth.
Okay.
We have a problem of insecurity and electricity, first and foremost.
Okay, Dr. Mefo. So, in your opinion, we should prioritize security and electricity over these 4 executive orders signed by the president. Okay, then.
4 executive orders are okay, but they are not fundamental to me.
Okay, we'll get the point now. So, what about the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja that has ordered the disclosure of the spending details of about $5 billion Abacha recovered funds by the former presidents Olusegun Obasanjo, Umar Musa Yar'Adua, Goodluck Jonathan, and Muhammadu Buhari? How proper do you think this order is, and is it coming at the right time? Like, it's been long this thing happened. Like, is this the right time for this?
Yeah, well, you see, when those in power refuse to do the right thing, then such orders become inevitable. Because if you really look at it, when loots are recovered, it should be regarded as a federal revenue.
Okay.
So the federal revenue is now redistributed to the tiers of government the way a manner revenues are accruing to the consolidated revenue fund. It accumulates and is distributed. But federal government collects, recovers these loots and then sit on the loots. They sit on this loot. And there has been allegations that much of these loots have been relooted by those who are superintending over them. In other words, the offices that coordinated the repatriation of these funds should be made to account for them. I've often argued that the recovered loot does not belong to federal government alone. The highest the federal government can do is to take what you may call service charge, that they take away the amount they believe they expended in recovering the loot. The rest of the funds will go back into the pool. This has not been the practice. So where is the money? That is what the court is saying. The court is saying, tell us what you did with the money. Because one is that even if the federal government expended the money, the loots, Abacha, because we're talking about Abacha loots. Abacha is not the only loot. They are all that recovered the loots. Where is the Ibori loot? They are all that loot. What happened to the money? You recover money from a former governor of a state, and you sit on the money as a federal government money because you use federal government structure to recover it. That is wrong. That is illegal, if not criminal. Because the money ordinarily should belong to the state, governed by Ibori, which was Delta. But it's not what you get. So the order of the court is very much in order. And it will help us to have an idea of what really happened. And if the money is wrongly applied, we will know who has, such money. Where is the money? Where are these loots? What did the federal government do with the loots? You need to understand the level of corruption, going on in the country. It's situated and institutionalized in the last one decade, especially under the watch of Muhammad Buhari, whose acts of omission, by allowing the heads of the ministries, departments, and agencies, the ministers, DGs, and so on and so forth, to run a free reign. They ran their show without any supervision. The office of the Attorney General, particularly, if you hear the kind of percentages they awarded to lawyers that went for the recovery of this loot, the money paid to these lawyers run into billions of dollars. You'll be surprised. That's a fact. So if this is the practice, what ought to be the practice? If such lawyers were paid humongous amounts illegally, the money is recoverable. And this brings me to a memo recently circulated by Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, showing clearly 23 to 25 areas where money was directly stolen under the Buhari administration, where certain policies led to stealing of funds, waste and all that. About 25 areas. And what you mentioned that is just one of them. What happened to the loots. But it's not the only thing that must be looked at. And we mustn't wait for the court order to come for this to be done by the Tinubu presidency. If Tinubu is asking Nigeria to sacrifice more, we will sacrifice more, yes. We are already compelled to sacrifice more. We are buying 10 liters of fuel for over 5,000 naira, and it doesn't take you a day. So we are already compelled. But we are asking, Mr. President, is it really fair? What you are doing to Nigerian masses, is it really fair? If you are not asking those who are holding our money to yield it up, and you are asking Nigerians to pay more tax, are you not indirectly telling us that these people can keep their loot? Let me give you an example. Look at what happened in NNPC. For years, NNPC was running a policy they called a crude swap. That means they were giving refiners crude oil and receiving refined fuel in return.
Yeah.
Now, how come we are still paying over 10 trillion in 1 year for fuel subsidy? Since you have given them our own crude, what happened to the 10 trillion? I thought the 10 trillion would be the money we would pay for refined fuel owned by these people. But now these people are refining our own fuel, and yet we are being told about 10 trillion going to fuel subsidy. You see why President Buhari must institute, as a matter of urgency, an international forensic audit on key areas of the economy. I have just mentioned NNPC.
Yeah, but
NDDC is the same story. You go to it, the story is everywhere. And like I said, look for that document that was circulated by Femi Falana recently. I will forward it to you if you don't have it. Then you will see key areas where over 100 trillion naira can be recovered from. And the president is not looking in that direction.
okay.
That if he wants Nigerians to cooperate, if he wants Nigerians to sacrifice more, we want to see him calling these people to account for the money they superintended over.
Okay.
We don't know what happened to such money.
All right, Dr. Mefo.
Once we are satisfied with that, then sacrifice on the part of Nigerians will become justifiable and possible.
All right, Dr. Mefa, we really hope and we'll keep watching to see how they go about this court order, if it will still not be swept under the carpet. But we really hope that it will not be. Now, talking about this new administration, as we are all waiting for the ministerial list, what kind of people do you expect to see in that list? What kind of individuals? What kind of portfolios do you want?
For me, if Tinubu wants to make a clean break with the past, he should not reappoint people like former ministers and former governors to begin with.
All right.
That is just the truth. Former ministers, former governors, they presided over the rot of the last 8 years. So are you appointing the ministers now for what? You're appointing the ministers would amount to reinforcing failure. You know, rewarding failure. You are claiming that they succeeded. There is no minister in Buhari administration that merits the place.
Oh,
not
really?
A single person. If you were here in the last 8 years, mention one Buhari minister that would say deliver the sterling performance and therefore is needed in this administration. In the time of Jonathan, we could look to so many, in the time of Jonathan Obasanjo, we could look to so many ministers that were really sterling in their performance. Look, and their performance led to their elevation to even international stages. You can see somebody like Adesina, the president of Africa Development Bank. You know, this is because of his performance as Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. I can go on and on and on. Who do we mention in the Buhari administration that really delivered a mark to justify such reappointment as a minister? There is none, in my view. I may be wrong, but I can't see any. Now, look at the kind of people that I believe that Tinubu must consider. You know, yes, this is a presidential democracy. It's also a party system. What that means is that politicians inevitably will have to form part of his cabinet. But for me, I believe that the place to really compensate politicians should be in the boards. You know, let them go to the boards. But the actual policy formulation and implementation, which is key and represented in the ministries, departments, and agencies leadership, like ministers, DGs, and so on and so forth. You must go to technocrats, people who have some track record, people who have what you call cognitive experience, people who are trained, people who are educated. We don't want to have square pegs in round holes. Look at the immediate past Minister of Education. Adamu told Nigerians that before his appointment, he knew nothing about education. So are you surprised that he ran the place aground? He made a mess of education. And that was why ASU went on strike for a total of 18 months in the last 8 years.
Yeah, that was sad.
Around the COVID era was about 9 months. And another one was 8 months plus. Add the two and tell me where leaves the educational sector, especially at the tertiary level, university to be precise. You know, somebody who had no idea of what to do with education was the one saddled with responsibility. So his performance, the result of such an appointment was predictable failure. And it was kept there for almost 8 years. So you can see that Buhari really didn't care. Because if you have, maybe you believe that this person can do this job, 2 years should be enough to tell you whether the person can. If 2 years elapses and the person is taking you backwards, you remove him from there and find somewhere else. Take for instance, I am aware that Adamu immediately past Minister of Education, trained as an accountant and also practiced as a journalist.
Yeah.
So what was he supposed to bring to the table as a, so there is nothing to really, it showed that he was a round peg in a round hole.
Yeah.
And it's a simple example. Now, look at another mistake of the Buhari administration. Almost half of his cabinet were lawyers. Lawyers. He had no economist, for example, to run the Ministry of Finance, to run the Central Bank of Nigeria. MFLA is not an economist. You can see the result. MFLA is not an economist. And look at the mess he has made of Central Bank of Nigeria. The records are there for everybody to see. Then Buhari started with Kenya Dosh. Kenya Dosh, I don't know if he's an economist, but she was there for maybe a year plus. But the woman that succeeded her, certainly not an economist. So you can say that your fiscal policies and your monetary policies, the monetary policies are supposed to be coordinated by the central bank, particularly the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The fiscal policies are supposed to be coordinated by the Minister of Finance. You see where knowledge of economy comes in. Being an economist is a very serious added advantage. So we expect, look, all I'm looking for now, I want to see Tinubu's list. And from that list, I will see if I can see people you can ascribe what you call exceptional leadership skills to. If you don't have such people there, there is no hope.
Okay.
I want to see the people Tinubu would give, the person he would appoint as the Minister of Finance. I want to see an economist. You don't just go and bring in someone because somebody has a banking experience or something. It's not sufficient. You need to get somebody who can understand how some of these things work, even from theoretical perspective. And some bit of practical experience, when combined fairly, will yield up predictable performance. Because Nigeria is on the edge. Nigeria, we need to pull the country back to the precipice. So you need to know who is going to come in. Who is going to come in as the Minister of Finance? The acting governor of the central bank is an engineer. I don't know if you know. So what magic do you want him to do there? He's an engineer, a mechanical engineer. Unless what I read is wrong. But if you confirm him, you already have a problem in the central bank because you will have to rely on people whose interests you don't know for advice and to direct, to help him in shaping the policies and programs of the central bank under his watch. So we may be back to worse years that are worse than that of MFL. If you allow a mechanical engineer to run the Central Bank of Nigeria, and you bring another accountant as the Minister of Finance, it means that the misalignment existing at the moment between the monetary and fiscal policies of Nigeria will continue. That's just the implication.
Okay.
Somehow, those who are not core professionals, out of this and that, maybe got feelings and so on and so forth, are able to run for ministries, even though they didn't train specifically in those areas. But it is rare. You need to get people who are prepared, people who are trained, who are prepared. That's what we keep talking about technocrats. If Tinubu will emphasize engagement of technocrats, it is likely to succeed. Let him move politicians to boards and look for technocrats to run the economy.
Okay, that's okay. This administration should look for technocrats for his appointments. All right, then going forward with the fragile economic and security situation in the country, what ministries do you think that this administration should prioritize? What ministries would you want Mr. President to pay more attention to?
You see, there is this thing in leadership call it the big man theory. The big man theory.
Okay.
The president would want to see himself as a superman. There is no president that is a superman. Obasanjo tried it and we saw how it ended. Nobody's a superman. It was Obasanjo that started the nonsense of assuming the minister of petroleum. And what happened? Buhari repeated the same policy by arrogating to himself for 8 years the minister of petroleum.
Yeah, I was coming to that. I was even coming to that question.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
yeah.
You see, I've already indicated the areas of priorities for me.
Yes, you mentioned
very fundamental.
Yes.
And in dealing with the economy, I want to see a very sound, rugged hand in the Ministry of Finance. I want to see an economist as the CBN governor. I want to see a serious-minded guru in the Minister of Power, Electricity. Then, of course, the Ministry of Police Affairs. We want to see the person who is going to be there will be in the mood of somebody like a Solomon Arase, who is the chairman of the Police Service Commission at the moment. We need to see people who understand the urgency now that we need to deal with the insecurity in the country. Ultimately, we want to see the Minister of Defense. I'm just giving you the key ministries that will drive the narration and pull the country back from the precipice. We need to see a core brain in the Ministry of Defense. Because as the Minister of Defense, you work closely with the National Security Advisor, to be able to confront the issue of insecurity in the country. We are talking about terrorism, banditry, militancy, all manner of things going on in every part of the country. So you need the Minister of Defense that will work hand in glove with the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and they will come up with a clearly different roadmap from what has happened in the last 1 decade. We need to do things differently. Only a madman will be doing something and doing something repeatedly and expecting a different result. Unless you change your approach, you're not going to get a different result. And to change the approach, you need people who understand what went wrong. If you don't get people who are competent, those who are confident, those who have the capacity, there is nothing you can do. They may want to do it, but they don't know how. So things may even get worse if you don't take some of these things seriously. So I've mentioned the 6 key areas.
Yes. All right.
Let the politicians take the rest, or let the president take these ones.
Okay.
On no account should the president arrogate to himself any minister. It's an aberration. It's not done anywhere.
Okay, I was even going to ask that. Looking at the past administration, President Muhammad Buhari, he was the head of Ministry of Petroleum. I was going to ask you if you see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu heading any ministry in the coming days.
I don't think it is right.
Okay.
If the president says he wants to become the Minister of Petroleum, Minister of Defense, Minister of Power, to what extent? Look at what happens. It's not assuming such responsibilities that will change anything, because you cannot. You are too busy. Why do you know that the Federal Capital Territory, that the president is the governor of the Federal Capital Territory?
Yes.
He appoints a minister because he cannot have the time to run Abuja directly. That is why I'm surprised that people don't see this. If the president, who is automatically the governor of Abuja upon his election, cannot directly run Abuja because he wouldn't have the time, why will we now believe that the president will have the time to run any other ministry? Do you get the point?
Yes,
so
yeah.
It's not possible. What you do, look at what the president needs to deal with any particular sector that he believes that it requires a very decisive action. For example, in the area of insecurity, the president may declare state of emergency. But let me tell you how state of emergency works from a legal perspective, even though I'm not a lawyer. You see, what will happen is that all the areas of the law that would require that the president will have to pass through certain processes of say legislation, appropriation and approvals will have to be suspended. What this means is that the National Assembly will have to really pass an emergency law in the area. I don't know if Nigerians understand this. If the National Assembly will have to pass emergency law in those areas before the president can now assume such powers, why just think that declaring yourself Minister of Petroleum will change anything?
Okay.
Of ignorance.
All right.
The operation was started not even by Buhari but by Obasanjo of all persons. So we need to get our leaders to even understand basic nuances of governance. And sometimes some of their policies and some of their declarations or positions embarrass some of us who have access to modern governance across the globe. Very embarrassing. So they need to yes, hands-on we agree, but then you don't assume offices where because when you say you want to become the minister of this, you are indirectly saying that you want to bring emergency powers to bear in those areas. When Buhari became the minister of petroleum, what happened? Out of the 4 refineries in Nigeria, none of them produced a gallon of fuel in 8 years. 1 gallon of fuel. And yet we pumped in billions to keep them. Today, look at where we are. But for 8 years, Buhari as Minister of Petroleum could not revive 1 refinery. Not one.
Okay, Dr. Mefo. Okay, Dr. Mefo. Talking about
question now is this: if you have an opportunity to interview Buhari, ask him as Minister of Petroleum, in your 8 years of presidency, what were your achievements as a minister, not as president, but as minister.
Okay.
It's so annoying, very annoying.
Okay.
Annoying.
All right, Dr. Mefo. Now, you mentioned this. Talking about high cost of governance in the country. Well, do you think the president should revisit the 2023 budget that was made by the Buhari administration, especially the 11.92 billion for feeding and foreign trips of the president and vice president?
We borrowed the presidential system of government from the US. In the US, you can go and check. If Biden is in the White House there, he pays for it. That's a fact.
Okay.
Now, yes, that's a fact. Now, you talk about the foreign trips and all that. Nigeria has, the presidential fleet, will have about six presidential jets now.
Yeah.
That means transportation is almost taken out of it, because all you now have to provide is aviation fuel to take you there. In most of these countries of the world, we have our guest houses. You understand that? Because we have embassies almost in almost every country of the world. I'm trying to understand where these billions, the budget for go into. It goes into extra codes. And these extra codes are not even spent on the job itself. It goes into their pockets as what they made for being president, vice, and the ministers, and so on and so forth. Because Nigeria is still carrying this burden. Then you come to the villa every day, they kill 2-3 cows. If you walk there, it's free meal, free breakfast, free lunch, and you still collect your salary. Do you get the point?
Yeah.
So Nigeria is about the only country. And of course, in African affairs, that's the kind of thing you get. You don't feed no official, you pay salary. It's not done. It's not the duty of Nigerians to feed the president. He receives his own salaries and allowances. He does. And if you go to the pay slip of the president, you will still see provisions for even this thing embedded there. Whereas you have a separate budget also. So you discover that the whole thing is a system of patronage, it's a system of waste, it's a system of taking away. Nobody is talking about how to bake, is to take from, share from the cake that exists. So you can't. And of course, let me even tell you, I will be surprised if Tinubu would revisit the budget like you said. And even if he does, it will be to increase it. From all indications, we understand that he has on his list, he has 42 ministers who haven't confirmed that, but many reliable sources are saying the list he may have forwarded to DSS is up to 42. So,
that's much. That's too much.
His predecessor. So there is no indicator. There's nothing indicating that is going to reduce the cost of governance. Because if he's going to reduce the cost of governance, the first thing to do is to even match some of these ministries. But if he has 42 ministers on the list already, it means he's not going to match any ministry.
Yeah.
It means he's not going to reduce any cost in governance. It's going to be business as usual. But let me tell you, for Tinubu to succeed and really move Nigeria away from the era of waste, the manner of governance that have perpetrated so much waste, so much corruption, so much impunity, Tinubu may have to commit what you call harakiri. Political harakiri. You know what that means? Suicide. Class suicide.
Wow.
What I mean class suicide is that the president will have to disappoint the political class. He has to betray the political class. If he doesn't do that, he will not succeed. If he goes back to pander and govern for them, govern for the few political elites, then the suffering of the Nigerian masses will continue. Because the little money you have in the coffers is used to service this rapacious political class, this political elites. So it takes a president that will say, look, we have taken enough from these people. We need to do things differently.
All right, Dr. Mefor.
That's what I mean by political suicide. The president must abandon the political class and side with the masses. That is the only way to go. Nothing left in the system now.
Okay, Dr. Mefor.
Is working with the president.
All right, Dr. Mefor. The last question here before you go, can you answer us using 2 minutes? What's your reaction to the call made by the former governor of Zamfara State that the president should dialogue with bandits, just like it was done to the Niger Delta militants? Do you think this is a call that is needed, or what's your take on this call? Because I've already seen someone.
Well, you see, I understand where the former governor of where the governor of Zamfara is coming from. I think I understand him. Incidentally, my PhD in social psychology is actually in counter-terrorism.
Okay.
And some of these recommendations were some of the things we tried to examine while coming to terms with what you call terrorism in Nigeria. How did it really come about? The terrorism in Nigeria is imported. And it is imported by some people who felt that they could use it to achieve some political ends. Banditry in Nigeria. If you recall what Honorable Baraje said, that they brought bandits in 2014 to be able to tackle and remove President Jonathan from power. So you can see that some of these things really would require negotiation to that extent. For example, if you recruit people and you dump them somewhere along the line, they can use the tools you gave to them to begin to cause problems to you. And much of banditry and insecurity and terrorism in Nigeria have their roots in this kind of a thing. And that is why I mentioned somebody like Baraje. Even El-Rufai once told us that he was paying a killer headsman to deal with, in order to stop them from carrying out any form of reprisal attacks.
Okay, but don't you think?
He regretted that policy, but he told you something that really happened. So I don't quite agree with him that we should negotiate with criminals. You know, I wish I would have the time to tell you precisely why I don't agree with him.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mefok, for speaking extensively on the questions and the topics we have for today. Thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, viewers, that was Dr. Law Mefo, the forensic and social psychologist, policy socialist, and public intellectual who discussed deeply on the topics of today. And if you're just joining us or you've joined us, you don't understand what we're doing. This is People and Politics, where we discuss the issues disturbing us as a nation, issues bothering us on the political arena, things that those that we've elected are doing that should be of concern, and things that are meant to be discussed. That is what we do on this platform on every Monday. And I am your host, Rita UCHECHI, and this will be a very good place to wrap up the show. I would love to see you next week, same time, same station. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms. Click on the notification bell. It doesn't cost you anything to click, and tell a friend to follow us on SRTV. See you next week. Bye.
Hooray! It's Nigeria Week London 2023. This is a celebration of Nigerian foods, film, arts, culture,